What's going on? Cathy here. You're in the right place. You're not in the wrong place. You have gotten to Wreath Decor by Dawn, but so come on in. We're filling in for Dawn. This is going to be our last night filling in for Dawn. So what we got tonight... Oh, we're stuck. Hold on. What happened to my other piece? Oh, here it is. Alright. So... I really love the whole embellishments thing, guys. I'm not going to lie. So... I love making these more than I love actually making the wreaths, even though I love making wreaths, but these are more favorite things to do. So I've been trying to do one of these for a while. I feel like I probably have glitter all over my face. Last night I went to bed and I had like a big black sequence on my forehead. If you don't follow us on Instagram, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, because I post some stories once in a while, and I usually try to post them to Facebook as well, but I don't know if they always go there. So so I know you see a lot of them is in the round styrofoam ball fashion, and I've been dying to do one of those recently because I've just been trying to do some different items. And so this was our first attempt today, which I thought was pretty successful, but we went with the egg styrofoam. So if you haven't seen these, I saw these at the store the other day and I was like, what? Egg styrofoam, let's give it a shot. Right? So come on in, everyone. We're going to show you what to do. Now, I'm going to, like, heat of warning, okay? So these styrofoam eggs don't come like smooth. It's like that really rough styrofoam that when you touch it, it feels like gritty sand. So what I did, because I was a little afraid, and I think it was more so because I was pressed for time, that I didn't have time to like try everything out. So we will try it out after today, without filling these, but as you can tell, well, you might not be able to tell on here, but this one has like a slight little divot in it. So, you know, because like if styrofoam gets up close to anything really hard, it kind of just, it leaves an imprint, or it can kind of make a gouge in it. So I played with today, and I'm going to show you what to do, because then we're going to get right into making it. So if you want to make it smooth, I think it would be great that we kind of do that, right? Together? Who wants to do that together? Just real quick. I'm going to show you what to do, because I kind of played with that today. All right? So come on in, say hello. All right, so stop. I got this jar of Floracraft Smooth Finish Foam Coating, and foam, it's spelled F-O-M with like the little accent, like you make a hard O sound instead of saying foam. It's foam. So this is, I'm just gonna see if you can actually see it. Hold on. Where's my view? There it is. So, oops, this way. I never know which way. So it's Floracraft, Flora as in like a flower, Floracraft Smooth Finish Foam Coating. It's like such a light jar. It's wicked light. It's like, it doesn't even, I don't even think it weighs like 2 ounces. You would think that it's like empty. And so the way I've tested this out trying it, so I have like the little tiny piece of like a, what do you call it? Skewer. Gosh, I can't think of my words. A skewer. All right, so I took the tip of the skewer and I stuck it in the bottom, just a little bit in the center, because it's gonna get covered anyways. All right, so this was in order to try and make it really smooth, because I was afraid to try it like this really rough and have it show right through the fabric. Now this gold fabric that I use, it may not have made a difference, but this really nice soft pink one with the glitter, I thought it was gonna look kind of yucky because it was probably gonna be a little bumpy. So I'm gonna show you real quick, and it says to use it with a spatula, like a not a spatula, a putty knife. Just pretend it's probably just the coffee, I'm sorry. So a putty knife, but hey, I didn't have a putty knife, so we went to like the plastic silverware drawer and got out a plastic knife. All right, so I tried not to use a serrated edge, not too much, And it says to use it in small portions. That's probably a little too much. So I kind of just keep the lid just kind of tucked on there. And I've from mistakes I've learned, start from like where you put in your little stick first and go to like the kind of the top area. This kind of falls off if you don't push it in, so because it's so lightweight, if it doesn't grab hold right away. It doesn't matter if you use a serrated edge, but it's just going to leave those little streaks inside your covering or coating or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes I use the serrated edge just to get like a little bit of the excess away from wherever it is. And you definitely want to work it like butter, like you're spreading butter on this so that it gets in all the little grooves. Okay, so we're gonna go from A to Z, and I have been working on getting the pattern up to our shop. I was actually just doing that before this and making a vector file so that we could get that up as a PDF for you, so that you don't have to try and figure out the shape for the egg. And then we'll probably put up on there, I gotta get some different sized actual balls of the styrofoam balls, and then just figure out the size on those, and then I'll probably just do it as one big listing PDF file, so that if you want the size on the cuts for your fabric, then you can just buy that one file and it goes for like the egg and the different size styrofoam balls. So I was actually thinking, when you see these, when you see those people that come up with those beautiful styrofoam balls that are all decorated, there's really not much glue involved, guys. Am I shocking you by telling you that? Or like people probably already knew? I just literally figured out how to make them today, and I was shocked, really shocked. So we're just gonna keep working this through. I'm kind of going a little quick, so I'm not worrying about, I'm trying to stay over this paper towel is what I should try to do. All right, so this is gonna be like the baking, cooking commercial type shows where we put it in the oven and it's kind of like done. So we're not gonna wait for this to dry. So the thing about this, I tested out how to dry, like the length of time to dry this. I tested a half hour. The jar doesn't say a length of time. Go figure. I don't know. It should, but it doesn't. So it doesn't say a length of time. I definitely put a little extra in that big gouge that was showing. So I tested a half hour at first, and then it still felt like damp to the touch. So I let it dry like another half hour just to make sure it was dry. And then what you're going to want to do, because it's not smooth completely, you'd probably get it smooth a little bit more if you use the actual putty knife, but we're using a plastic kitchen knife. Guys, you know, it's whatever you can do. Don't be spending extra money on tools that, you know what, this is going to do the same thing probably. All right, so this is what my egg is looking like now, and I know it still looks really bumpy, but it's going to be so baby butt smooth. So I'm just going to take this excess off. I'm not putting that back in the jar because it's kind of got a little bit of styrofoam pieces mixed in it, and this takes like all the strength in the world to really close this thing. It's like I get a step on it to close it. All right, so we'll close that up. So we're gonna put this in the oven and bake it, pretend oven. Really, all I do is I put it in my little container here that I dry stuff in, and so I let it dry for that hour. You can probably do half hour if you don't have a very thick coat. Maybe try it after 45 minutes, but I just let it go for an hour, and I was doing other things. All right, so pretend that's dried. Now what you're gonna want to do is take your egg. This is what it would look like, okay, and then I just took a very small piece of very fine sandpaper. You can probably go steal one from your husband's stash. Don't tell him I said that. And literally, if you don't have a piece of wood, which I didn't have a piece of wood handy, I just took a ribbon roll. Small ribbon roll, like one of those 5/8 ribbons, or this is actually even smaller than that. And then you just lightly sand. Like you literally just brush off all those little pieces that are kind of like poking out. And they fall right off. And this took like no time to sand. This one's already sanded, I'm just pretending. So you literally just do that. Like not even a minute does it take, all right? And then you're done. So then you're ready to work with it. So what you're gonna wanna do is decide how many quadrants, I was gonna say quarters, but quadrants, you wanna divide your egg into, or if you're doing a ball, whatever it is, and then you gotta do the math and break it all out. And then if you don't do our pattern, which we're gonna do up, then you gotta figure out a pattern to just be able to put it on there, okay? But we are gonna put our pattern up for sure. I was literally just making the vector file to try and do it. So, so what we have is I divided mine up into 4 quadrants. So I have 2 pink, okay, so you probably see better from the side, 2 pink, and then 2 gold. You can make them whatever colors you want. You can use whatever trim you want. You can use whatever embellishment on the top, like the little jewels you want. So this is really more so if you have like one of those really custom projects maybe, or you have like a really cool idea in your head and you just can't find it made, then this is where you kind of come in with that. So I have this is what I showed last night, that really pretty pink soft fabric that's all glittered. Oh, so that I just cut a little bit out of it because we're gonna make these in sets of 3 to list in the shop. And then I remember from Christmas time I got this really pretty gold like crinkle fabric, and I didn't end up using it because we didn't end up having time to finish the attachment. It'll be a carryover for next year that we'll do that one next year. So the reason why I have 2 layers cut here is because I didn't realize it was see-through, okay? So I can see the camera right through this. So I just cut 2 pieces out to be able to make sure that it wasn't going to be see-through. Now I know it's white, but I just really wouldn't want the white showing through that much. So we cut 2 pieces on this, and because it's like it's like paper thin. So we have basically, pretend we have 2 of each, so one of this, okay? And then we have 2 of these, of the pink and 2 of the gold. I'm probably gonna see if I can zoom in a little bit. All right, so I divided this up. All right, when you figure out how you're gonna divide this up, you're gonna wanna take some kind of blade, like a really sharp blade. So either like an X-Acto knife, if you wanna use a box cutter. I just find those are a little bit cumbersome. The X-Acto knives work really well. So you're gonna wanna find your points and make some straight lines at whatever quadrants you decide to divvy this up into. See how I have like little lines already there made? So I already cut into these. So I just marked everything off, and then all I did, I'm gonna face you guys here, is I went in with my X-Acto knife, and then the length of the blade I basically cut into those quadrants, okay? And so there's 4 cuts, essentially, like 4 straight cuts from the very top of the egg to the very bottom of the egg, all right? And so I did that all the way around. So there's 4 straight lines, all right? This is the so easy part. So that's that part. Then you're going to take your fabric, start with whatever one you want. I think I started with the pink, which doesn't really matter, but we're going to start with the gold this time, just to make it different. So you're going to put this over your quadrant that you already cut a shape out for. Now, the pattern is probably a little overstated, and the reason being it's always better to have it a little bit bigger than a little bit smaller. Because now what you're going to want to do, so I keep saying that like I need to tell you about what I did. You're going to take something that has like a sturdy edge, but not a serrated or a sharp edge. So you don't want like a knife. You don't want like scissors, because that's going to cut right through your fabric. You can use this. This is my Cricut little spatula tool thing that came with my Cricut machine. If you have one of these, or you can get one from somebody, use this. You can use like a credit card, maybe like one of those, you know, the Stop and Shop, or we have a Stop and Shop here in Massachusetts, probably not down south, but like a grocery store, you know, those little rewards cards. You can probably use that to just kind of tuck in, because what we're going to do is we're going to take where the fabric kind of lays over the cut line. So here's the cut line here, and the fabric's laying over that. So we're going to take this blunt edge. Let me just fix my fabric here because I just twisted it. And this is supposed to look crinkled and wrinkled. So we're going to just find where that little divot is. I'm going to put it down because I can't do it up in the air. And we're just going to start tucking in that fabric into that little groove. So see how that's happening? Okay, and then I'm holding the fabric on both sides so it can stay nice and tight. And I actually moved it too much. And the good thing about this is no glue. So if I screwed up because I moved my fabric too much when I picked it up, it's kind of hard to do if I'm in the air. Hold on. I need to bring it towards me because I can't see sideways. And my two pieces were sliding all over the place. So I'm just going to match this up in front of me. There we go. Come on. If you don't have two pieces of fabric, it's so far much easier. But of course, I decided to be stubborn and not go pick something different because I wanted the pink and the gold. All right, so now I have my fabric lined up straight, the right way. And you just want to make sure you're giving yourself enough room that it's going to cover both sides. And you're just going to start over again to kind of push that fabric right into that little cut that you made. Okay, so you're just like tucking it in. It's like you're making, it's like when you make your, do your sheets from your bed, sleeping in your bed, and you're tucking them in. You're just making some really nice tight, I don't want to say fold, but do you know what I mean? Lost my words today. I don't know why. And just keep working. I like to work the fabric with the actual spatula so that it just kind of folds down nicely and pushes down nicely. And get it in there tight. Okay. And if there's one side that's acting up, then like I said, you can just pull it out and adjust it. There's no fighting with glue. There's no fighting with anything other than just pushing this fabric down in there. Now, if you cut too much and there's like excess, too much excess, like still sticking out, then you can trim it along the side over here. Okay, so like if I had some excess here, which you gotta get some really kind of good scissors that you can get really close, then you're gonna wanna just cut that little excess piece off. All right, now you trust me, you still have room to fit in more fabric in there when you do your other layer. And this one I need to push up and pull over a little tiny bit. There we go. And I'm going to look up in a second to see if you guys have questions. And the pink one's going to go much easier because I'm fighting with is this fabric's a little slippery, A. Because it's like paper thin, and then B, I've got 2 layers of it to try and do here. And so you just keep working your way around. And like I said, super easy when you have one piece of fabric. But what we're going to try next is the balls shape to work on these, because I think they're so pretty. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I think they're cute, but they're not my favorite. The ones made with the yarn, the yarn balls. I think they're cute, but they're just not my preference. So I like them with the fabric, to be honest with you, just because it's my preference. I like the fabric more. So see how that looks like a gold covered egg? Okay. So we're going to start with the pink now. Okay, so I'd like to get the ends to meet up to the top where they should be. All right, and then what I like to do is kind of push over to the left or to the right where this should be over on the seams. And then once I find that good spot, I hold it from the top, and then that's where I start to go ahead and push in. So now this is just one piece of fabric. Should be much easier, go much faster. And on this side, we're connecting to the gold, okay, that was already put in. So just keep pushing in. I really like this little spatula tool to do this because it's got like a really thin, flat, sturdy, I should say, piece to it versus it being like kind of wiggly or wobbly. And then what's really awesome is that you can buy whatever trim you want to put on these. Oops, I just pushed a piece out. Okay. And then if you have a problem edge, like there's too much, like this one has just a little too much, I'm going to pull that little tiny piece out. I'm going to cut a little piece off, and then I'm just going to stick that back in there. And for the most part anyways, it's going to get covered, but you got to kind of make sure you're lining everything up right, or you won't have enough to cover everywhere. I know it may seem like a little bit of work for one little egg, but after you do these, this is going much easier than my first one. My first one I was all over the place. I was like, whoa, take that out again. Oh, take that out again. Oh, take that out again. But it's the easiest like redo. So this one here, we have just a little extra, so we're just going to trim that. So that's that. And then we're going to do the trim after we do this gold and double pink. Alright, so there we have our little egg with its 4 quadrants covered. Alright, now here comes the fun part. So we have this trim. We have another gold trim that we have over here too. We have some gold rickrack, but it's not in the room right now with us. Where's the beginning of this? So we could always use this gold trim as well. The other one, this one is like a braid. So this one's cut at like about 8.5 inches, I think. Yeah, just over. So maybe just a little over 8.5 inches. So we could use this pretty one as well with the pin in it that I almost just stuck myself. So you can pick whatever trim you want. If you had a pink trim, if you had this trim that you wanted to use, whatever you think you want that matches your project. You could use ribbon, you could use cording, you could use The jute cord, if you were, I was thinking of having time to do one, like you do like a farmhouse theme one, so you could use like that white and black buffalo check with the jute cord and maybe pick like a solid color to alternate with. You could always do that. So this one, I think we're just going to keep it consistent with that one for now, just to do our set of 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the top here, and we're just going to go around, make sure that we're covering the whole thing, and then we're meeting right back up at the top again. Okay, now I like to do this. I hope oh God, my glue gun, I unplugged it. Oh. Alright, let's plug that in real quick. I forgot because I left the house to go pick up my son at school, and I've been trying to be really good about shutting my glue gun off, and I forgot to plug it back in. So let's talk about what you can use for jewels instead. So we have these little jewels that we picked up, and some of these you can actually even find really cute ones like this at the dollar store. They come in like different colored little flowers. Like this one's a little flower, petals. Actually looks like flower, not just petals. This is a butterfly. So that's just like a little butterfly. And they also had some that were just like shiny jewels. So besides that, what you could do, since we're waiting for our thing to warm up here, you could take, I have it right here, take our box of buttons. Could take some buttons. I love my button box. So this is a little big. Like this is if you're going to do like a big ball. But you could do something smaller like this and put this on top. Okay, if you were doing a big ball. But for these, you could take like a shiny gold button or something that looks like this that has like a bevel to it, and put that on top as well. So you don't have to just use jewels. You could use buttons as well. Try to see if we had any other buttons in here that would serve nicely. Nothing else in this bin that's bigger. So and then actually like this, if you had a Cricut machine or you had just felt stampings, you could put like a little felt shape on top if you didn't want to do a button. So there's all sorts of options that you can decorate the top with. If you didn't want to just do the top, you could also do the bottom. But I find I don't want to put something on the bottom, because if somebody wants to stick something in there or hide something in this, like in their project, they're probably not going to see the bottom. So what I like to do, if our glue gun is even close to warmed up, it's getting there. Oh shucks, I'm so sorry. I forgot to warm this up. But you could use all sorts of things. You could use beads. So if you had a string of beads, like we have this gold set, this red set, you could use like that ones that look like pearls. So we actually have those. If you wanted to put pearls in here, and I would probably get a little bit larger size, but you could also put pearls in here too. Okay, because so if you tuck in really well your seams, then you could just put a string of pearls in here. And so I would have to clean up this little edge here. I wasn't worried about this edge because I was going to use this trim. But so if I wasn't going to use that, then I would push this down in here further and then make sure that any like excess was really cut off. Okay, we definitely would want to cut that off. All right. So that would be really pretty too with the string of pearls. And then you could do that little pearl, a smaller pearl type brooch on the very top. So like this here, I'd have to cut that a little extra off again, just to hide those pieces. You definitely want to get some kind of trim scissors that you can get in really close, because those big scissors, they're great for cutting, but they're not really great for getting up close and personal with your projects. So look how pretty the pearls would look too. I might just have to do it in the pearls because it looks really pretty. So look how pretty that looks with the pearls. I love that. I do love that. So we'll probably make a version with the pearls, because you know me, I can't always just make one version. I have to make like 10. And we're still going to finish our carrots as well, because I got sidetracked with just a couple of orders and some other things, and then I got to get back to the finishing those and listing those. So we're just going to go ahead and use these because I have these ready to have them cut. I'm not saying these particular beads because these are Mardi Gras beads, but you know what I mean. If you have a string of beads that you wanted to use. We're warmed up here. Okay. So what I like to do, so this is the bottom of the egg, this is the top of the egg. Just by looking at it, you can kind of tell. And this is the right side of the trim. So we're going to kind of line it up so that the top is near the top. And then this is the only part that I actually do put some glue on, just because I want to make sure that the trim doesn't shift. And so I go from not the very top, but probably about a quarter of the way down. And right in that seam is where I put the glue, just a very fine line. You don't want to put like a huge amount so that it all squishes out the sides. Okay, so my very top here is still loose. And then what I like to do is come in with my other side and just see where that's going to meet up. Okay, and then I'm going to start gluing that side on too. Now you don't have to do it this way, you can just do one at a time, but this is just the way I liked to do it. I know, I do like the pearls now that I put it on there, so I'll probably make a set with pearls. But for the pearls, I want to find a smaller brooch type top, like a button top that was like the large one that I had to go over it. I don't like it with these jewels. So, shopping trip tomorrow. I find excuses for needing to go to the store so often. The ladies at like Joann's are like, oh, you're here again. Oh, you're here again. Oh, you're here again. I'm like, yeah, thought of something else. Thought of another idea. Don't have everything I need. Alright, so this one is, I find which one I want to go over and under, and I kind of work with them both at the same time. So the bottom doesn't need to have anything over it because it's just this crisscrossing over one another. Alright, so this is just over each other. I know the gold is kind of making a shine on the camera, sorry. But I don't put any glue on this trim. I go right up to the trim with the glue, but stop right before it. I try to avoid any kind of extra bulkiness if I absolutely can. Because once you put the glue on either side, it's not going to move in the center. I just want to avoid any kind of like spillage on that glue. And if you ever worry that this fabric's going to come out, once you put the glue in the seams for the trim, then you're good. You can also make Christmas ornaments out of these, and you can just take the trim, like if you're using rope or jute, you can just take a really long piece and not even have to even use any glue. I just like to add the glue, to be honest with you, to give myself a sense of security that it's not going anywhere. And that's just me being a little anal. Because I hate to like you know, you buy things and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that didn't really last that long. All right, so now we're getting all the way up close to the top with all 4 pieces. Now, I did cut some of them a little extra because I wanted to make sure that they actually reached versus being too short. We can always cut, but we can't add on. So the way I like to cut these is almost like the way I did the hats. I like to put a little tiny thin glue layer where I'm gonna cut, so that way it doesn't start to fray and undo on this trim because it's a braid. So the braid will definitely just come all apart. Trust me, I found out the hard way. I thought it was kind of like all cinched together, but I cut it and then it was like all unbraiding. So this is the only part that we're kind of just going to make sure we kind of work in to what we need to do. And then there's just this one side too that we're going to cut a little tiny bit shorter. So we're going to add a little glue layer. Okay. All right, so we're going to cut this side. I'm just trying to figure out what layer I just put glue on to cut. I believe it was this side. Perfect. And then we're going to cut this guy down quite a little bit. And actually we could use a little tiny bit more to cut down, but we're going to leave it pretty close to like that. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions. I mean, I think it was pretty self-explanatory. I think the pattern is really the only thing that's like the greatest thing to work out. And once you have that down, then it's like, you know, you can take off from there. So this part, I'm just going to make sure to hold down the very top. Okay, so I'm just holding down the top there. And I think I used the flower jewel is what I chose. I felt like the butterfly was not for what I wanted. So I decided to go with the flower jewel on the very top. And so this one, we're just going to cut some of this glue that just clumped up a little bit here. There we go. And so for that, we're going to put the glue on the jewel. All right. And then we're going to try and get this as close to centered as possible. You can see a little glue web here. But so look at it. So we've got 2 out of our 3 done and not too shabby. I do like the pearls though, I will say. These are going to give it a complete different look. So we'll definitely probably do a set with the pearls, and I have seen some buttons with the pearls that were a little bit larger than that would look perfect, so we're going to have to get some of those. And then as soon as I have the other set, then we'll put these in our shop. Thank you very much, guys. I'm signing off. Cathy here from Santa Marta Designs. Thank you, Dawn, for allowing us to come on and showing you some great things, and we'll see you soon. Bye!